Thank you for inviting me. I'm actually here instead of someone else, I learned. I'm here instead of Jonas Dahlström at Fiber Optic Valley, which is an innovation system just extending from Sundsvall down to Gävle. I'm not an expert in innovation systems. I am just, as Bengt said, I think, in technologies. But I'm from a research institute and not from a university. And when we work with technologies, just as you are at some level, we always need to think of how can this be applied in the real world. So I will talk a little bit about business models. I will not really talk about business models. I will mention that business models is a large part of what we're doing. And when me and Alexandra, I think it was, decided on this title, I felt fairly comfortable. But then I thought a little bit, so what can I say about this? I have no idea what to say about this because I'm really not an innovation expert. I work with technology, so I changed the title, sorry, to this. And I have been working with fibers and lasers since I grew up. And now I'm a department manager at Acreo. I have some colleagues here in the audience. One of my colleagues is actually an associate professor with Håkan. Where did you go? There. And we should really play with your soap technologies on fiber. That's also a fairly large area, at least long length, right? ICT. ICT is an extremely broad term. I usually say that it's anything that is enabled by modern photonics, modern electronics, or broadband technologies. It can be anything. So how can I try to make some sort of limitation in what I talk about? So I've decided to talk about some sampling of what Swedish ICT is doing in ICT towards sustainable living. So I'm just giving you samples here, and some of those are within my area or within hardware. Some of them are really not my area, but I can certainly direct you to the people to talk to within Acreo or sister institutes. So someone will keep track of time, right? I have many slides. I will speak fast. Swedish ICT is a research institute. Anything we do have to be motivated in short or long term by some sort of industrial relevance. We're owned by Swedish industry and by the Swedish state. And that sort of says what we're meant to do. We're meant to produce technologies that make revenue in the industries, so they pay taxes to the state, so that we can all continue living in a good environment. And we are 4 sister institutes in Swedish ICT. And we're ranging from hardware all the way to big data and logistics and interactive systems and those and other keywords that you can talk about. Pretty much everything that we do is together with either industry or society in some way, and our product is contract R&D. And we compete for funding with, for example, Miss Sweden University sometimes, or sometimes together with Miss Sweden University. So half of what we do is roughly half is funded by industry, roughly half is funded by competitive research funding in different ways, from the European Union or Swedish funding agencies or other funding sources. And at Acreo, we're 160 people. At Swedish ICT, the group of 4 institutes, we're roughly 400 employed. Most of us are engineers and researchers. The fun people, right? Is there anyone here that is not a researcher? Some? Oh, okay. 5. Good. ICT. This is ICT, right? But ICT is a lot of other things. And I will try to focus on sustainability, since that was in the title that we chose, right? Just giving some samples. So what do we do within future healthcare? For example, we're working with the cost of care and the quality of living, even if you have a deadly or a very long-term disease. And we call this the cool project. The cool? How do you say it in English? You know what I mean, right? The disease when you're smoking too much. I'm a smoker, so I know this. How can we enable systems so that cold people can actually live at home and be cared for at home without having to go every day or every week to the hospital? But what do we face when we try to make systems for this? First of all, of course, we face a lot of hardware systems, hardware challenges. How can we sense things in a cost-effective way, in a safe way at home? How can we transfer this to the hospital? How can the the vårdoperatörer actually work with these in a keeping the integrity and the safety. But we also talk about business models. These people have business models. The clinics have business models. And of course, the people caring the people at home have business models. So these are all challenges that we face when we try to commercialize the technologies that we work on. Acreo is working, I think Jonas is here, working a lot with providing test beds for these types of home care and e-health systems. Put your hand up. There's Jonas. Another sister institute of ours, Interactive Institute, is working with ICT to provide cheap ways for students to learn how diseases is affecting the body. We call this a virtual autopsy table. And here, of course, we're combining X-ray scanning with the modern ICT, so that we can work our way through the body and see how does a jaw fracture actually look, and in different way. Yeah, you understand. Printing electronics. We have a lab down in Norrköping that work with this roll printing, just as Håkan was talking about. And here I'm just sampling a system for a very low-cost integrated biosensor, where the target here is to make a disposable insulin sensor that costs a few öre to produce and so it's disposable. Of course, fiber optics is my own ground, so I have to mention this. When you work with lowering the time of care in the hospital and also making the return to productivity for the person that is sick, you want to make as tiny a hole as possible in the body when you diagnose or treat something. And this is actually a company down in Lund making systems where you use a laser, taking it into the body to the kidney, I think is in their case, and treat the liver with a laser inside the body. Of course, lots of ICT here. Production. We work with lasers. We shoot laser at materials. We look at the plasma that's created. With this information from plasma, we can tell Outokumpu or Onstina Recycling exactly what they have in their metal waste. Really quick sampling. Someone will ask me some technology questions in the end, right? Now I'm pointing at Jan here, who's this is part of his field. He's also associate professor at Sweden University. Integrating ICT on production systems, putting actually sensors on the tooling themselves. So here integrating strain sensors and temperature sensors on the actual workheads. In this case, I guess similar to what Sandvik is producing. We work with SSAB, LKAB, and Sandvik and those companies to help them to online control their steel processes, where we actually go into the steel process and measure the temperature and the chemical environment inside the steel process. And here it's roughly 2,000 degrees in one of these systems here. So here we make use of modern ICT in terms of putting a fiber somewhere here, looking into the system. We're using really old black body radiation, of course. I mean, that's known for centuries. But the modern part is that we can take it out and we can make a low cost and efficient spectral analysis of what we're seeing in there. Sustainable living. Another sister institute of us is working with sustainable mobility, we call it, where vehicles and different sorts cooperate with each other to determine how to, in the most efficient and most safe way, to get from point A to point D. And here again, we're talking about business models. There are so many stakeholders in this that I get amazed when I speak to these people. And building the infrastructure for this is also, I mean, someone has to pay for it, but who's going to benefit from it? Someone has to make money or save money. And of course, we're talking about security in e-health. I think perhaps the security is even more important here, of course. and that someone is not hacking into my car and make me crash, I guess. To the more technology side, we work on infrared detectors. In this case, with Autoliv and other companies, how to do low-cost systems that we can use in our cars to get early warnings of people or animals or other living things around the road. Other living things? Other living things? Jumping from one thing to another, again, sustainable living. We have a large project with many stakeholders in Stockholm, where they're building an entire new city area called the Royal Seaport, Norra Djurgårdsstaden, where Acreo and the partners are building up an open IT environment so that to have an infrastructure for the companies and for the people living there to build up smart energy use, to have the transport system efficient, and also to track our own impact on the environment, which I'll show on the next slide, I think. How can we use ICT and modern systems to actually change our own behaviors? And it is shown by many people, I think, that if we just should have given some sort of sign that what we're doing makes a difference or difference, we actually change what we're doing. Ocean search, jumping from thing to thing here. This is combining. I think this was probably driven by some sailing enthusiasts at Interactive. But this is a way for private boats to contribute to surveilling the state of the oceans. So what you buy a low-cost sensor system that measures the salinity, that measures the pollution, as in particles and things in the water and other things in the water. And this is transmitted with GPS information to some server somewhere. And all mapped, of course, in Google Maps type of system. Those were extremely fast sampling of some of the things that we're doing in ICT. And ICT, I mean, you all know ICT is extremely broad. I want to say a few words about Fiber Optic Valley before I finish. Acreo is we're a national institute. We're at 4 sites in Sweden. We're in Stockholm, which is the main site. We're in Norrköping, and we're in Gothenburg, and we're in Hudiksvall. I actually learned a new word this morning from a colleague of mine. He called me Stockholms akademiker. I don't think that was good. I'm not sure. Was that good? I moved to Hudiksvall 9 years ago now. Up here we have Fiber Optic Valley is innovation system from Sundsvall down to Gävle, as I said before. Mid-Sweden University is a major part of the innovation system, as is Acreo and as is Högskolan i Gävle, and also the communities in these areas. And this is the idea about behind the innovation system, that the companies that work together in clusters grow faster than other companies. And if we work together, we can also create more innovations than if we work alone. And companies in this sense is of course encompassing both societies and universities and research environments such as Acreo. So Fiber Optic Valley is I think there's some 30-something organizations within Fiber Optic Valley right now, open for more companies and organizations, focusing on broadband and sensor technologies and innovative leadership, which also includes issues such as gender management and equality and other types of competences. That was my talk. Thank you.